Hey everybody, this is Ron. Listen, I get a lot of questions everywhere I go on how to find a good real estate closing attorney. We get people contacting us all the time saying they talk to 2 or 3 attorneys and they won't close deals if they're due on sale clause underneath and all kinds of other things. Listen, it is not hard to find a real estate closing attorney. First place you ought to start is in your REIA group. That's your local real estate association. If you happen to be a member of one, I promise you there's an attorney that's part of that group. And if there isn't, there's a whole bunch of investors in there that will lead you to a good real estate closing attorney. And if you don't have a REIA group, you might want to check it out. REIA, Real Estate Investors Association. There's probably one in your city if it's of any size. If not, the next thing for you to do is ask around for people that might have a association with these kind of attorneys. For example, realtors, for example, they're in the business, but you're looking for a real estate closing attorney that's investor friendly. There's a lot of real estate closing attorneys that close transactions for realtors that aren't exactly investor friendly. So we're going to find one that's investor friendly. Now, if all else fails, don't forget there's Google. So we're going to go over here and we're going to go live on Google. And Rich has typed in, there you go, write this down guys, real estate closing attorney, Jacksonville, Florida. Now, if you don't live in Jacksonville, Florida, you insert your city there accordingly. So go ahead, Rich, let's punch that up and let's see what comes up here. Wow, we got a whole bunch of real estate closing attorneys here in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, let's start at the top and let me just take a look at these, Rich. See, it says right there, Florida Real Estate Closing Services. And he's an attorney and he's probably part of a title company. Okay, well, why wouldn't I call them? Okay, attorneys, title services. There's an attorney within that title company, which is fine with me, incidentally. I don't care if they work in a title company, but remember, they must represent you, not the title company, or you don't want them for your attorney. And on and on and on. Just scroll it up. Let's take a look at how many of them there are. There's a whole bunch of them there. So you just got to, you know what I'd look for first? I'd probably look for one in my zip code or one zip code next to me where I'm working and try to get one as close to you as possible because I'm assuming that's where you're going to actually be buying houses and doing deals. And then I'd work my way through the list. One more time, because I think that's not even the list. I think we're just on the first page of the list. Oh, look at there. There's 10 pages. 10 pages. I hope you don't go through 10 pages. So I'd start with the front here, and I'd call them. In fact, Rich, I'm going to tell you what to say in just a minute. Let's go to another city, because maybe our listeners are thinking, well, golly, that's only in Jacksonville. Don't work like that elsewhere. Let's take, we just had one from Seattle. Punch in real estate closing attorney in Seattle, Washington. Let's see what happens there. Wow. Okay, as usual, here's a whole list of them. Now let me see what this says over here because these are reviews. Seattle property lawyers. There's an address of one. I know on here somewhere, I was looking, and it said that there's 157 real estate closing attorneys in Seattle alone, and they've narrowed it down to this list. And for whatever reasons, probably quality of reviews. Look, 10 pages of them. So same thing. You go down here and you find one that interests you, preferably in an area near you, if the area shows. And if it doesn't, you just have to pull them up one by one and see where they're located. Some of them have areas and some of them don't. Okay? So Google's always there. Now, what do you say to them? Here's what you say. Better write this down because it's this simple. First, you pick up the phone and you're probably going to get a hold of a assistant sitting at the front desk. You most certainly will not get the attorney to pick up the phone. So you can ask this question to the attorney's assistant. And then if the assistant needs to flip you over to the attorney, they will either do that or you can make an appointment to have the attorney call you back. So here's your questions. Are you a real estate closing law firm? I'm looking for someone to close real estate transactions for me. I'm an investor and I will be buying several a year. If the answer, of course, is not yes, there's no sense in having any more conversation with that law firm. If the answer is yes, you want to ask the following question. Write this down. I sometimes buy properties subject to the debt, Sometimes I buy them with owner financing, and I usually lease purchase them to tenant buyers. I'll need an attorney to close all of these transactions. Will that be a problem for your firm? And if the answer is, yeah, that's a problem, keep moving. If it's not a problem, you've probably found your firm. And then if you like what you hear, the last question would be, well, I'd like to establish a fee to close any kind of a real estate transaction I bring in so I can predict my closing cost ahead of time. And that will probably need to wind up with a conversation with the attorney. And that's what you have to do. Look, you can't run out of people to call. There's just pages and pages of them. So don't tell me you can't find a good real estate attorney. What you're telling me is you haven't made but 2 calls and got 2 no's and you're ready to quit. They're everywhere. They breed, they spread like cockroaches. So go to Google and find them. And that's all there is to that. And if you have any questions on that, send them in and we'll put them on the Q&A session every single Friday. See you soon.